What's up, everybody? Kevin coming to you at 8 o'clock on a beautiful Wednesday morning. I'm supposed to go live with Luke Pimentel today, and I'm having trouble getting in touch with him this morning. He's a busy, busy man, and maybe I just haven't heard from him. Maybe he'll show up in just a little bit. But in the meantime, I'm just going to find out how you guys are doing. I'm going to turn on the comments. And as you guys start coming in, holla. I would love to hear from you. Just so you know, when you come in, I don't necessarily see who's here. I can see you if you like it, and that's not just a ploy to get likes, but I do like likes. Got a few people from MixCoach on the Facebook page, and a few people from MixCoach on the YouTube page. Breakfast with Kevin, Mark Jacoby. He says he's going to start calling it Breakfast with Kevin. Maybe I should too. I don't know. Good to see you, Mark. So, like I said just a second ago, before a few people showed up, new haircut? No. This is my do-it-yourself haircut. That I can't just blame it on the Corona thing, but I was doing my hair. I haven't done the top in a while. I cut the side, but not the top. So. I need to learn to do the top. Jana was showing me a video this morning of this lady cutting her own hair. It was hilarious. Anyway, so as I was saying, Luke is supposed to be on the show today. If you don't know Luke Pimentel, he is a LA-based recording engineer who's done a ton of stuff and really busy guy. And hopefully he's going to be able to make it this morning. If not a big deal. We will reschedule. But maybe he'll show up. So, Richard Blythe, I have to show these kind of things. You look good. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys coming on this morning. So this morning we were watching this lady cut her own hair. So I probably won't do that. And I've seen that meme go around where it says, no matter how bored you are, don't cut your own bangs. So don't cut your own bangs. I'm not going to cut mine. I'm just going to keep brushing mine back. So I was going to post this real quick. This is a YouTube video, and it's one of the best things I've seen in a while. It's John Krasinski. He's doing this thing called Some Good News. Okay, so I may need to share the link then another way. Go to YouTube and look for SGN. John Krasinski, and there's 3 episodes out now, and it's just in this day of everybody, I don't know, just kind of dreaming up what could be. This is really good because it's good news, and it shows how we as the human race pull together when we can. There's the link, by the way. Good luck catching that. Okay. So Richard said, can you explain more of who Luke is? I feel funny introducing him because I haven't heard from him this morning. I texted him yesterday, reached out to him yesterday, but I know he's always like working late hours. So, but I will tell you who Luke is. So when he comes in, we'll just put him right on the show. And if he doesn't, you'll at least know why you should come back next time. So Luke, I met Luke several years ago when I first moved to California. We were both judging a songwriting contest together. It was, I forget who it was exactly, but it was a bunch of singer-songwriters. And there must have been 20 entries, and it was me and Luke and another couple of people. Well, in between segments when we were judging, we would talk and found out that we had some pretty common interests. Like one thing is being that we both, love to mix. He's a mastering engineer. I don't really claim to be a mastering engineer, but Luke is. Luke masters some stuff for me. He's really good too. He has a studio in Riverside, California, just outside of LA. And I think it's called the Fun Attic. And he's always doing work. He's got like, I don't know, 50,000 subscribers on his Instagram. He's just a good guy to know. He's an open book as far as information, knowledge, and every time we get together, we just have these deep conversations about the theory behind why we do what we do, and and then anyway, and when we were judging the contest, we were talking about some Nashville connections, and come to find out, we had some common friends, and he used some of the guys in Nashville that I use. Okay, there's the link. It turned me down the first time. How do you say your name? Bulapona? Sorry, forgive my southernness. It may not be a southern thing at all, but anyway, there's the link. Hopefully you can click it. So Jeremy Medkiff, that was our Nashville connection, man. Yeah, Jeremy, here's a funny story, man. I was talking to Luke about some tracks. We were talking about producing stuff, and I said, so who do you use in Nashville? And he mentioned your name, and he mentioned a couple other guys, maybe Garth Justice and things like that. I was like, oh my gosh, have you heard Jeremy's Preacher Man? Anyways, it was fun. It was like I had just moved here not too long before that, and it was so nice to know that somebody like Luke knew some of my friends from back home. Guys, hey Jeremy, I don't know if you're interested or not, but I'd love to chat with you someday, maybe even today. Let me know if you're interested in jumping on for a few minutes a day. I'd love to chat with you. I'll send you a link. Okay. So that's how I met Luke, and then and then there's a church here close to here called Eastside, and Luke used to do some front of house stuff for Eastside, and got to know him a little bit more there. Hey Jeremy, give me just a second. I'll send you a link. All right. Anyway, so Luke's just the thing I found out about Luke is that he's not, and this is what I find out about some of my people that I admire the most, is they not only do one thing well, but they are diversified. And that's one of the things I was going to talk about today with Lucas. And hey, give me just a second. This is live. Did I mention I'm going to send Jeremy a link here, and hopefully he can jump on. Talk amongst yourselves. Let's talk about compressors. Let's see. There it is. Jeremy, this is coming to your phone. Let me know. I'll see you when you show up. But I was going to talk about diversification, and Luke is very diversified. I just noticed that he was doing sound for movies. He's doing mastering for movies. He's also a songwriter, musician, that sort of thing. And I, from early on in my career, I always wanted to be the guy that could do anything. And I looked at people like Keith Thomas, who is a hero of mine, and noticed that he not only owned the studio, but he engineered some of the stuff. He wrote the songs. He had the publishing company. He was just like, he was an amazing guy. So people like Luke and Jeremy, who does a little bit of everything. We'll talk to Jeremy here in just a second. I just admire those kind of people because it's hard knowing several things, and to be disciplined enough to be good at some of those things is a hard thing. I find a very hard thing because my ADD kicks in, and I want to learn a little bit of everything. Like last night, I was up really late last night trying to learn After Effects. And if there's anybody in here that knows After Effects, let me know. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to show that, Jeremy. I'm trying to take away that other thing. Yeah, build upon compressors. We've talked about that a lot in the last several days. The Shadow Hills mastering compressor. Some of our favorite compressors. We talked to Matt a couple of days ago about some of his favorite things. Soothe. He told me about Soothe, and I heard about that from Chris Crunk also. And then, so anyway, I'm kind of curious to see if if Jeremy and Luke might be able to come on. I'm always curious. I always talk about not buying a ton of compressors when it comes time to work, but there at the same time, it's kind of a sickness. I have to kind of know, uh, you know, who's using what and if I'm missing out on something. So anyway, Jeremy, I hope you got that link. I sent it to your text. I'm going to jump on Facebook real quick and send it to you that way too. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of scrambling right now because I was just assuming that, people, my communications and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? People get busy. And see, sorry, forgive me. Jeremy, are you on Facebook? Anyway. Oh well, Jeremy. Hopefully you can see that, and you're on. Okay, cool. Hang on just a second, guys. Give me just another second. Let me get Jeremy on here. Jeremy, there you are. All right, coming to you, Jeremy. Hang on just a second. Grab that link there in your messenger. All right, we're going to talk about kind of your workflow for stuff, because Jeremy's another one of those guys that's just so diversified. Worship leader at his church, also killer guitar player, one of the best bass players I've ever heard. Anyway, so Jed Dimlow, hey man, it's good to see you. I see your daughters on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. It looks like they're killing it. Jeremy, I don't see you on StreamYard. Maybe I should refresh my. Well, there you are. I see you showing up. Jeremy. I can't hear you though. Hang on. I can't hear you. Sorry about that. I can't hear you, man. You can you grab it from your iPhone or something like that? I don't know if I. Yeah, Richard, makes it more live. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's me. Maybe I can't hear. Maybe I need to turn up my volume or something like that. What is that, Jeremy? Is that you? Oh man. Yeah, Jeremy, we got some questions stacking up. Hey, while we get this thing figured out, guys, put some questions in here for Jeremy, because we're gonna pepper him with questions. Jeremy, I don't know. Can you check your audio connection on StreamYard? Hey guys on Facebook, can you hear me talking? I'll watch the stream. If you can hear me talking, let me know in the comments. Okay, you can hear me. That's awesome. Okay, Jeremy, if there's a place in there where you can check your audio, I think possibly it's a wrong source going into your computer. If not, you can click on the link. You can click on the link in the. I sent you a text. You can go to it on your phone too. I like your headphones, Jeremy. You've got those Grados. I love my Grados too. I can't wear them for a long period of time though.
Yeah, they're hard.
There you go, man. I hear you.
Oh, great. Yeah, it was in the audio settings. It was.
Okay. Well, hey, thanks for jumping on so quick, man.
I'm here.
I've never
I'm trying to figure out which. Okay, there we go.
I've never like just impromptu put somebody on the thing, but I've only been doing this like a couple of weeks. So, man, thanks for showing up.
Good, man.
Yeah. Okay. So,
hey, man, no problem. Glad.
Yeah. Richard Bott says applause. Let's see.
Yes.
Let's see. Reggie Duncan says two of the best. It's you and somebody else. I'm sure he's talking about. Richard Bott says bass player. Absolutely. He says he has some questions. Hey, Richard, type your questions in, man. Jeremy, how you been doing, man?
Man, I've been busy. Actually, it's been crazy. I figured everybody's, work would go down, but it's actually went up a little bit. So I'm thankful for that. So I've been here at the house just working and mixing and doing overdubs and doing tracking. We've been tracking some in Nashville. We tracked some here. But,
you track. That's cool. So are you doing all that stuff now just since this Corona thing happened? Or what do you find yourself doing more of?
Just a lot of overdubs have come in, and it's been kind of crazy. People are still working, so at least that's what I'm finding. So it's kind of cool that. Hold on, man. I'm trying to reposition my screen here. It's kind of cool that we did something interesting yesterday. We did a Zoom session yesterday with Crossroads. You're familiar with Crossroads.
I was going to ask about that.
Well, we all just logged on to a Zoom meeting and we did a pass around situation, which it wasn't actual remote recording. It was more they started with a basic thing, and then they sent it to me and then sent it to somebody. We did our stuff, we sent it back, and then the client approved it through Listen To, which is the audio mover software. It was interesting. It was an interesting day, but we made it work, and it was kind of cool. So
how long did it take you to do one song?
We were averaging about 45 minutes to an hour, which wasn't too bad.
That's kind of normal, right?
That's pretty normal. Yeah, we were out about the same time we normally would have been in a regular session.
Oh man, that's cool.
It's kind of neat, man. I don't know. We're looking for some kind of solution for remote recording. So if anybody has anything out there, any suggestions, man, we're active musicians are looking for that. So.
Yeah. So the Audio Movers has a way to send your mix and let other people listen to it. And I've been using that even to mix remotely from my house to the studio.
Right. Which is what I'm doing right now. But I'm not using the Audio Movers. I'm curious about using it today. So
yeah. Well, Audio Movers has a thing where you can plug in and listen to someone else's mix in your Pro Tools session. Have you used that before?
We were using it yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it works great. It sends a high definition audio, and they can listen from anywhere in the world to what you're actually doing real time in your studio. So,
well, so the overdubs. Walk me through that just for a second. I mean, so would Tony Creasman play a drum pass and then pass it to you, and you play bass and guitar, and then you pass it? How did that go?
Well, that's basically what would happen. They were tracking a piano. And actually, yesterday was an interesting session because there was no drums on it, which was highly unusual. Oh, but we did it to track the piano and then send it to me and then send it to David Johnson. So we did it that way, and we all just collaborated, did our thing, and then sent it back. Yeah. We talked about everything we were going to do beforehand and who was going to do what and where, so everybody knew what they were supposed to do, and then we had the chart and nailed it and just sent it back. It was kind of cool. That was interesting.
Here's the thing, though. One of my favorite things about the actual recording sessions is David Johnson's stories. Did he have a chance to tell the stories on Zoom?
That was the least amount of talking I've ever heard in one day from David Johnson.
Oh man!
But he was wanting some Rocky's hot chicken so bad he couldn't stand it. So.
Yeah. What did you go to lunch together? Or I mean, that's another one of my favorite things.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get to go to lunch together, but we did take a break together. So
okay. Man, some questions are flowing in. I'm gonna toss
All
you
right.
some really like just lob some softballs at you here.
All right.
Blake Bennett wants to know who's your favorite brother-in-law.
That would be Jerry Sheffield. No, of course, Blake Bennett would be my favorite brother-in-law.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
He's a fantastic engineer himself. He
Yeah, he
mixes
is.
great, does great live sound.
Talk about diversified. Now, that's another dude that's real diversified. He does graphic work, and
Yes, very good at everything that he does.
he really is. And hey, just so you know, Blake, I'm trying to learn After Effects. I don't know if you heard me say that before, but let's see. So let's see. I don't know if this is a question or just a compliment. I've admired Jeremy's silky smooth bass work as much as his guitar work. I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. I have a Stingray. I do too. And I would love to smooth out the sizzle in mixes. I probably need to buy a P bass. But any tips for my bass? Anything on that, Jeremy?
Well, that's a pretty broad question. However, yeah, things can get sizzly. I'm not a big fan of ultra top end on bass. I like more of a mid-range kind of definition in my bass. That's what I like to go for when I'm tracking. And sometimes you may need a little more or a little less of that in a mix, but just depending on what you need. I'm not a big fan of like high definition bass.
Yeah.
I like more of a, actually, sometimes if the bass is sounding really great in a track, if you solo it, it doesn't really sound that good.
Yeah, that's true.
If it sounds super high def and big, it's just, I don't know. Sometimes in a track, it just doesn't fit very well. More of a mid-range to low girth is what works best in a mix.
Yeah, I've got a Stingray myself, and I find myself turning the bass all the way up, but turning the treble at least halfway down, so that it sounds more like it just sounds like a girthy precision or something like that.
Yeah, I use mainly a precision and a jazz. That's what I use.
Yeah, I just found this place in Huntington Beach called 13th Street Guitars, and I've got a 77 jazz, like one of our favorite bass players, Mark Hill. He's got that painted up jazz, and it's a 77 also. And so I would play his bass, and it was amazing. Then I would play mine, and it's just kind of chunky and thump. I mean, my father-in-law gave it to me. But anyway, I found this place in Huntington Beach, and they have this pleck machine, and they're going to pleck it out, or they're in the middle of it. Actually, I told them I took it to them and asked them to make it play like my Stingray, and they said we can do it. So they called me back and said we can do it. Here's how much it's going to be. We're going to replace the frets in it. And by the way, we're closing at 5:30 today, and we won't be back open until the Corona thing's done. So I'm like,
oh man,
you always want what you can't have. And I have thought about that bass every day, and I've talked about that bass every day. But anyway, what year is your, tell us about your basses. I find that a lot of bass players, sometimes it's not the old vintage stuff. Sometimes, like one of my favorite guitars that I own is a Squier. It's just the best playing guitar, and so, but what kind of basses do you have? Are they vintage? Are they new? What are they?
Well, actually, the two that I use primarily are both new. One is a 1963 Danocaster jazz bass, which I don't have in this room right now. Sounds fantastic. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dan Strain in Nashville or the Danocaster guitars, but he actually just recently quit making them. He's going to fulfill what he's got left, and then he's done, which I'm really sad about. His guitars are going on reverb for between $4,000 and $5,000.
Wow, really?
But they are vintage relics, and what they are, they feel, not only do they sound and look real. I mean, he don't just like beat on them. They look like relics. They look like the real deal, but they feel like an actual old instrument. And they're just fantastic. But that's a primary instrument. The other one I have that I use is a P bass. Let me grab it real quick.
All right.
This is basically a.
Does that have flat wounds on it?
This guy has labella flat wounds on it.
Oh wow!
So this is just standard P bass. Has Lawler pickups in it.
Tell me
So
about the
it's
flatwound thing. Is you just do that for a certain sound, or
basically, and this funny about these, they have a lot of sustain. They're really no. It has no different sustain than some of
round
my
rounds?
round wounds. So that just feels great, and you can get a nice steady thing too if you want. So that's one reason I keep that on this bass.
Yeah.
Also have what's interesting. These Sire. Have you heard of the Sire guitars? I've
Mm-mm.
got a 5-string Sire that I've been using on. It's a Mark Miller thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a really affordable high end guitar. They're made really well, but they sell them really, I
Hmm.
don't want to say cheap, but they're very affordable. And it's like, man, I've got I don't have it in here right now, but it's a PJ, it's a 5-string, and
Okay.
I use that some, and it sounds great. It's got a really big, if you want that big active pickup
Yeah.
sound, and it's
So,
active or passive, either one. So,
so you believe in 5 strings then, right?
uh, no, well, I do believe in them, but I'm more of a 4-string guy,
Yeah, me
and
too.
I did the Mark Hill thing, tuned down a step and a half for a long time, many
Yeah,
years did that.
yeah, I do that
Uh,
too.
but I've recently come out of that over probably the last year and a half, and I've got a 5-string that I'll use when I need it. But
Right.
I'm still, man, I'm a diehard four
Yeah,
string guy.
me
Just
too.
love it.
Me too. I love to watch Victor Wooten go head to head with some of these like 12-string bass player guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hey, Paul Rogers is on drumstick. I'm not Paul Rogers. Drumstick Tortoise. I don't know if that's a name you recognize, but he wants to know what kind of DI you use for bass.
Well, I have a pedal board that has a Fat Boy on it, which is Brett Teagarden
Oh yeah, I've been hearing a
in
lot about this.
Nashville. It's called a Fat Boy, and I've got this. He's got a nickel transformer and a steel transformer. I think I've got the steel transformer in mind, so
Hmm.
it sounds great. I run into a Warm Audio 1073
Yeah.
and an LA2A compressor.
Okay.
And I've got a few other pedals on the pedal board, but the DI is actually mounted to the pedal board.
Okay. So the Fat Boy is the DI, right?
Right. But
Okay.
I like taking it mic level, going into the to the mic pre with the EQ. And
Hmm.
if I need a little extra whatever, I got it right there and turn it up. And then another level of LA2A, just grabbing peaks, really,
Yeah.
compression.
Yeah. That's cool. So what are some of the things that maybe you've been through? I know that you've landed on the Warm Audio and the LA2A. What's some other stuff that other people may recognize and like, just as well?
As far as bass goes,
Yeah, bass signal chain.
so I come into oh man, what is that compressor? Oh man, it's an EBS
Oh yeah, I've got one of those.
micro multicomp.
Yeah, that's right.
I use the multicomp, and I go into from there. I go to a Holy Fire. You ever seen the Holy Fire pedals?
I've seen it before.
Creation Audio
Uh-huh.
in Nashville. Great, just they make fantastic stuff. Really high end. But the Holy Fire is the Mark 423 boost, which you'll see on a lot of Nashville players' pedal boards. I've got one down here on this pedal board, but it's just a super clean boost. It's almost like putting it through a Neve pre almost.
Uh-huh.
But I've got the Holy Fire, and the Holy Fire is the Mark 423 boost circuit with a, but it's got drive. It's got like a distortion and an overdrive. So if I need something that's just going, a little more aggressive, I can throw that in there. Then I also go into a Sans amp. What is that? It's it's been so VT bass. That's what it is.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't look at this stuff all the time, and I've forgotten. It's the VT bass from Sans amp, which has the 3 programmable slots. It's kind of cool. It's a little bigger, but you can switch amps. Like you can go from the verse to a chorus if you want the chorus to have a little different sound or a little
Right.
more. And it's super quiet when you go from one to the next. It's really nice. But then I go from there into the Fat Boy, and then from the Fat Boy into the Warm Audio,
Okay.
1073, and then the LA 2A compressor, which is inserted in the mic pre.
Okay.
And, just go out and that's it. And I usually go straight to tape.
Okay. And so, well, I love hearing about your bass tones, and that's a pretty good, like this is what you use now, and this is other stuff that could work too, or if something was broken, you pop it in there. So, but I want to hear about your from the minute we met a long time ago in Daryl Freeman's basement. You came in and you did some guitar solos. I think you used to be on the road with them back in the day.
Long time ago. It's my first job when I was 15 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember your guitar tone was like everybody talked about Jeremy Medkiff's guitar tone. I don't think you lived in Nashville all the time at that time, but Emmy was talking about your guitar tone. Tell me a little bit about your guitar tone. Kind of what's your desert island tone, just to get that thing. Where's that tone come from, man?
Well, man, that's a great question. It's evolved somewhat over the years, but it always seems to sound like me. Traditionally been more of an AC30 kind of guy, as far as, that Vox EL84 kind of sound, that a little more, Brad Paisley's kind of got that kind of vibe. So, I mean, that's kind of where I've kind of gravitated to, Telecaster into that, just cranked up really loud. But that's one of my go-tos right now. What I have primarily, I have which is complete opposite, which is more American. I've got a little Walter that I use. That's more the Fendery thing.
Hold up. What is a little Walter again?
It's an amp. It's an amplifier. It's a guy in, I believe he's around Asheville, but he makes these killer amplifiers, and Vince Gill uses them, Paul Franklin uses them. A lot of guys in Nashville got little Walters. I know Brent Mason's got one, but they're just it's just like a big ballsy Fender is really basically what it is.
Yeah.
But it sounds ridiculous, especially when it's cranked. It's just crazy good. Got that. I use a Sir amplifier head. I can't remember the model number. Oh no, it's a Badger. I use a Sir Badger, and also have divided by 13. What model is that I got? I'm terrible at. I'm a nerd in a way, but sometimes I forget.
I'm looking for. Is it how you spell Sir? SIR?
SUHR. SUHR. Sir Badger.
I'm looking it up right now. There we go.
And I have a 30-watt version of that.
Okay. So I've always liked and I don't know, do you think you have to get really loud to get a good guitar tone?
I would lean toward yes. if you were to walk in, like here at the house, I have down in my garage. This room is actually over the garage, so I have a tie line going down to an ISO cabinet. And if it wasn't in that ISO cabinet, it's a jet engine loud. I mean, it's just really, even the clean sounds are jet engine loud, and it's just, I don't know, it sounds better. There's just the amp gives you more. The louder it is, it's more expressive. The typical nerdy things that guitar players talk about, the expressiveness and the natural compression of an amp. Versus, I usually, all my sounds have a little hair on them.
Yeah.
And I clean it up just by coming, backing off the volume a little bit, clean it up a little more. But generally, everything's got a little bit of hair on it. So, and that's where a lot of tone comes from. Yeah. And a lot of the expression you get from the give and take of the amp, kind of working with you, it's really a cool relationship when you get it right. Yeah.
Well, so when you mic up that thing, what are you micing it with? We're nerding out here.
I have the Sennheiser 409. Yeah, I was micing up with 57, but I really like this Sennheiser 409. I believe it's 409. You might be correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what it is. That and a fat head ribbon mic. the Cascade Fat. Is it Fat? Yeah, Fat
Fathead.
It
Yeah,
has and it has the Lundell transformer in it.
okay, you got this is the, well, let me pull up this image here. I was going to see if this is the one you're talking about here. Not that one. This one. Sennheiser 409. I don't know why that's not showing up on the stream. It's a flat mic, right? The Sennheiser you're talking about is a flat mic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks a little bit like a 414.
Got it. Yeah, it looks. Yeah, it's a dynamic mic, and the fathead.
It is.
And the fathead is a ribbon mic, correct?
Yeah.
Those fatheads are not expensive at all.
No, man, they sound great.
They do.
They sound really nice. I run both of those into a radial mix 2-to-1, which basically is it's a pseudo mic pre-blender.
Yeah.
And then I come out of that and I hit a BAE 1073.
Yeah.
And then I go from there into what is it? It's the DBX 560A 500 series.
So it's
compressor.
a 500 series 160X or A, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Very simple compressor, and I'm not doing hardly anything to it. It's there to knock off any sharp edge, that might be there. But man, I'm really happy with it. And then I record one mono signal. I just find that some people you send them 2 guitar tracks, they want to pan them like it's stereo. It's like, no, that's mono. That's supposed to be. But also when I come into Pro Tools, I have an interesting setup here. I come in, I can use a DAW amp. Like, for example, I run a UAD system as well. If I want to use a separate amp from there, like something I don't have, I can use that. And I come into auxes inside Pro Tools, and I have these faders here, but I have a number of effects that I can draw from that are, from different delays and reverbs, modulation effects. Of course, I got a big pedal board as well, but this is just on the back side if I want to put something on the back side of the sound.
Yeah.
And then I can go into either a mono channel, I can go into a stereo channel. I've got a host of stereo effects and cool, just ambient, whacked out stuff. If I need to just go into like a stereo channel and print a stereo track, and it's all after the amp, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So it's like if we were going to process it on the back side, but I can send that to somebody. It's processed, it's ready to go. And they can just pull it up and it's ready to go. It's ready to mix. So,
yeah. Well, there was one more question while we're on this subject about your compressor settings for your guitar stuff. Do you compress it with the DBX, the 566A? How much are you hitting it, like low ratio or high ratio? What are you doing with it?
Let me see. Let me look at it. I'm hitting between 1 and 2. It's setting right in between 1 and 2-to-1.
Right.
The threshold is just set to where I'm knocking back maybe 2 to 3 dB.
Okay. At
the most.
Okay.
And that's just like at full volume.
Yeah.
And it might knock that back. It may not even do it. And I can, sometimes I'm always tweaking it. If I want it to grab a little more on a sound, then I can just reach down here and just tweak it. It's right here. So
yeah, that's cool.
Nice.
Well, while we're on this, you mentioned your Apollo stuff, your UA stuff. My buddy Mark wants to know your views on amp VIs or amp simulators.
Well, that is a great question. Now, all I have available to me that I'm using currently, let me pull it up so I can talk more intelligently about it. As far as what I go to, I've got another Sir amp that I really enjoy in this that I use. I think it's man, I can't tell you the model number, but I will tell you here in just a second. I'm gonna pull it up. There's also let me pull it up because I can't remember anything off the top of my head. I'm terrible with that. Yeah, it's acting up on me for some reason.
I know.
What is that? Oh gosh. of all times for things to act up.
Mark is wanting to know specifically. I think these may be things that he's using or looking at. He wants to know your thoughts on amplitude, and bias. Have you used any of those?
Oh yeah, now amplitude I have used, but bias, in my opinion, is far superior. Okay. The bias amp stuff is really, really, really incredible.
Okay.
Just everything I've ever used. And I do have a whole bias rig that I use from time to time if I need to, be in that situation. So I like the Sir. I'm really enjoying this Sir. What is it? It's a PT100. It's new. It's a Pete Thorne amp that UAD is modeled. Also have a diesel VH4 that I really, really, really dig on occasion if I need something with that particular sound. The Fuchs Train, got it. I use that a good bit. And also the Angle amps that they have are really cool. These the Retro Tube 100 is a favorite of mine. And there again, I'm set up where I can just grab that if I really quick, if I want to, and it's a matter of just moving a cable and I'm ready to go on something like that, which is really, really nice. Because the name of the game on this stuff is efficiency. Having a plethora of tones, and they're all available at in just a moment's notice. I decide I don't like that, let's move to this, and you can just get there really quick. And that's the way I like to work anyway. Because I want to try stuff. I want to see how it lays and mix versus what this amp is doing. Maybe like that don't sound quite right. Let's try this. So it's cool to have that and have it at your fingertips where you can get to it quick.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, talk about your you do acoustic guitar overdubs too. I know you do electric and bass like all the time, but but you do acoustic guitar overdubs too. Real quick, walk me through that whole signal chain.
So there's a couple different things I like to use. One, I do have I have a few tube mics, larger diaphragm tube mics. There's one is a Warm Audio. What is that? I'm sorry. Let me look.
Getting a sneak peek in the studio. Looks like
WA251.
Oh, 251.
The 251. It's really, really nice. Really nice for a large effort. I also have a Mic Tech. It's I can't remember the model number of it either, but it's the big, larger diaphragm tube mic. It sounds great on acoustic.
That's a Nashville mic, right? The Mic Tech is made in Nashville, I think, right?
It is. It is correct. And man, both of those they sound completely different. That's what's cool. They don't sound anything alike. But one's a little more mid-range. The Warm Audio, the 251, has a little more mid-range to it.
Wait, so the Mic Tech is also a 251?
No, it's more. I would liken it more to probably closer to what a 47 would be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I run those into. I've got a Brent Averill. The API deal is the sorry, it's an 1122 op amp.
Okay,
it's an API clone.
Okay,
I use that primarily for the tube amp or the tube mics if I'm going to use that. I have a couple of Daking mic pre's that I absolutely love.
I love those too.
Man, they're fantastic.
They've got hair on them too, right?
They do. I like running bass to it sometimes too. Yeah. If I'm here at the house, I'll use the Daking for the bass.
I love them on drums. Have you used the Dakings on drums?
Yes, and they're just
killer. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it's one of the best deals on the planet. In terms of what you get.
Now, does Daking make a 500 series? Because I've got a 500.
They do.
Okay, I may need
to. They do, yeah. I don't have any of them. I've got the Mic Pre. Let's see, what is it? The Mic Pre 2 is what I have. It has two Mic Pre's in it. It's great. Okay. Back on the acoustic, I really love the Slate Digital mic modeling. I
Mm-hmm.
use that too. I have a couple of their smaller pencil mics,
Mm-hmm.
and I can use those in stereo. And I come in, I can change out the mic to whatever I want it. Man, I really like those too, man. They sound great.
Yeah. Well,
Really good.
that's such a timely question because Richard Blythe wants to know if you've ever used a Townsend Labs mic, which is another kind of a Slate digital sort of competition, I guess. Have you used one of those?
Yeah. I haven't used one, but I know they must be amazing. I just, but I haven't personally got to actually use one. So
I thought
I
you.
have no doubt that they'd be amazing.
I thought you're going to leave me
Right.
hanging. Yeah. Yeah, I've got. I think Mark has one that we're using, and the cool thing about that one, and I don't know if the Slate is this way too, but Mark's mic will record 2 tracks. It records the front diaphragm and the back diaphragm, and you can actually change the pattern of the mic after the fact. So you can.
That's really cool. Yeah.
That is really cool. And I was telling somebody yesterday that I think it was yesterday that this I don't know $1,500 microphone. I was going through as we were mixing his thing. I let myself go there and I just kind of checked out every mic to see which one that I liked, not even looking at which
That's
one
cool.
it was. And the mic that we found out was an SM7 model, which is
Oh wow,
a third of the price of the mic model. But hey,
and I've got one of those sitting over here that I love on vocals, man.
do you have a cloud lifter on it or no?
I do have a cloud lifter, yeah.
Yeah. And what is that? Just an impedance circuit, or is it like a little
I
mic
think
tree?
so. It basically takes that dynamic level and just bumps it way up to something closer to what you'd get out of a condenser mic. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's basically all I know.
Yeah.
I just know it works.
Yeah. Well, what are you working on besides doing the virtual session at Crossroads? What any projects you've done lately that spring to mind first?
Well, I've been there's actually another producer out there in LA, Geraldo Pere, really great guy, man. We just tracked a bunch of songs for him last week for a few clients of his. We actually tracked them just here locally, and man, it was great. Let me just give a shout out to a studio that's actually in Woodruff, South Carolina, which is it's nuts. It's out in the middle of nowhere, but it's a great studio. And Brad Phillips, I don't know if you know Brad, but you probably need to. Yeah, I need to hook you guys up.
Yeah,
great
Brad.
Guy. Yeah, man, he's a great guy. Gets great sounds. He gets it. But just a small. We had just a small group of guys there, and we tracked all day, and it was. I've got a plethora of guitar overdubs and keyboard overdubs to do on that kind of stuff. So, on that stuff. But also, today I'm mixing. I'm in the middle of a record for a Latin artist named Junior Marchena. And Lucas may know who he is. I'm not real sure, but there's a good chance he may know who he is. But that's what I'm doing now, and it's kind of a pop / worship kind of thing in a Latin form.
Yeah,
so it's fun.
I can't wait
Big
to hear
track. What's that?
If I'm not mistaken, I think I've done some work with Brad back in the day, several years ago, before he started the studio or whatever. But I think that's the guy. Richard Blythe says that Trey Ivy's produced a lot of stuff out there at the studio in Woodruff. I'd love to see it.
Actually, I was working with Trey last week. Trey was really? On the session. He's a fantastic piano player. I mean, outside of Nashville, it's hard to find guys who get it, that way. But Trey really gets it, and it's really nice.
Yeah. Let's see.
And then Chris Knight was playing drums. I don't know if you know who Chris Knight is. You know Bradley Knight, the Ranger. It's his brother, and he's. He was in Nashville for years, toured with major artists, but he's right here in my backyard, which is really cool.
So you're going to start a little music movement right there in South Carolina, aren't you?
Well, it's nice. I do most of my tracking in Nashville, but it's nice that if I have something come up, I can do it here, and I have some quality players to choose from over here.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, it looks like you've got enough contacts out in California that the man might want to come out and visit sometime.
I would love to, man. We need to do that. We've actually talked about it. Me and Blake talked about going out and just staying at your house for a couple of weeks.
Well,
Eat all your food.
yeah, that's fine with me. You'll have to sleep in my podcasting studio.
Yeah, I'd be all right.
This place here. Yeah, that'd be cool. Hey, man, thank you for jumping on last minute. I know that we were supposed to talk to Luke Pimentel today, and I think we got a schedule mismatch or something like that. But we'll reschedule him, and I may get you to jump on too, and we'll make the connection between Jeremy and Luke. And I'd like for you to introduce me to some other guys out here in LA. I've been so busy doing church production stuff that I haven't had much of a chance to network outside of the few sessions that I've done, just around here with Wayne at Capitol and stuff like that.
Well, I love working with Luke, man. Luke is, man, he's great. And got to do some really cool stuff with him.
Yeah, I haven't heard it. Send me a link or two. I'd love to hear what you've done with Luke.
All right, I'm sure I can find it. It's over here somewhere.
Yeah. Well, Luke, Jeremy, I'm gonna let you go for now, and I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm doing a video shoot this afternoon. We're doing some worship sets where we're all going to be in the round, and I've got to set up the shots and the lighting, and we're multi-tracking it and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
One of those things where we're doing a little bit of everything. And I know you're doing a lot of. Aren't you a worship leader at your church? And so
I am.
We could probably spend a whole episode just talking about that sort of thing.
I would love to. Love to. Yeah.
Well, let's plan it. I'll hit you up in the next couple of weeks, and I'll send you a link and to this chat, and we'll talk specific. Now that we've got all the nerdy sort of signal chain and guitars and stuff like that, maybe we can talk about some stuff that might be a little bit more helpful to churches and worship leaders. Cool. That
sounds great, man. I'd love to help.
All right. Hey, Jeremy, it's good seeing you, man. And I'll be in touch soon, okay?
All right, Kevin. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, see you, bud. Bye. All right, so surprise guest, Jeremy Medkiff jumped on, and we learned a little bit about his guitar signal path and all that stuff. Really good catching up with him. He is such a good dude. If you've got overdubs or anything, or even mixing, he's just good at all of that stuff. So I don't think, Jeremy, if you're still on, send me a link where I can tell people where to go and hit you up for some of your sweet guitar and bass tones, if I can. If not, I'll put it in the links below. But hey, I wanted to mention just before we go, if you need some help with your mixing, or if you want to know, I've got plenty of resources for that. I've got one specifically that I've created lately called How to Recover Your Invisible Tracks, and that is a resource where I will show you phasing and how phase can work with you in a mix, and it can work against you in a mix. I just had some like a one-on-one coaching call recently, and this was some really cool jazz stuff. And one of the things that we discovered was the mix was amazing, and we're talking about next level stuff. The thing that we could look at was phase. Not phase like inverting phase, but shifting phase. And in this video, I can show you. If you want to see it, let me put you a banner up so you can see where you can find that link. It's mixcoach.com/invisible, because I'm going to help you recover your invisible tracks. The tracks that when you trigger a snare drum, it actually sounds good by itself, but it doesn't sound good with the rest of the drums. There's a reason behind that, and I want to show you what that is. So go to mixcoach.com/invisible, and we'll hook you up. Okay, so for now, it is 8:54. I'm going to let you guys go. And tomorrow, we're going to be talking to Todd Elliott with Philo. Philo is an organization, first in, last out, and it's all about church production. Todd is such a wealth of knowledge. He runs this conference called Philo, and I've asked before some of my tech director buddies, if you can go to one conference, your desert island conference, which one would you go to? And they all said Philo. And Philo happens in Chicago. It's supposed to be happening around now, but with this whole Corona thing, it's kind of been reformatted. They're still going to do it. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. But in around late in the year, we're going to be doing a Philo conference at my church. And if you want to come to that, Jeremy and Blake, if you want to come to the Philo conference out in California, let me know. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to be talking to Todd. Okay, I'm excited about that, and I'm going to triple check and make sure that he knows the times and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, okay, for now, I'll let you go, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock in Nashville, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.